All right, what is going on, Pats Nation? You guys already know who it is. Patriots Club here back with another post-game live. Now, we are starting a little bit later today. Today was a 1 o'clock game. It's about just before 6 o'clock that we're going live. Now, usually I do have Rob with the House Call podcast on with me. Today, he's not feeling very well, and he just did not want to talk about today's game, which I guess at the end of the day is a little bit understandable. Today wasn't a great game, but, I'm still here to break this game down for you guys, give you guys my notes, and ultimately, what I thought of this game, some of the facts, some of the opinions that I have. And at the end of the game, we're going to do a Q&A with you guys like we always do. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Of course, always drop your questions. If you do leave a super chats, no matter where we are on the live stream, do get priority. So give a little bit. I know everybody is going to take a little bit to get in here. Neil Ray, I think you're the first one in here. So appreciate you, brother, for popping out today. Like I said, guys, just me today. So let me give you guys just a few minutes here to pop out. Again, I appreciate everyone joining in. Neil Ray, Troy. Don't worry, guys. We're going to be breaking down everything. So just get ready. Make sure to let me know how you guys are feeling in the comments section below. And while you guys are at it, leave that thumbs up because, guys, let me tell you, you guys commenting, especially liking the video, sharing the video, really helps the channel out. The more you guys kind of participate with the channel and show love to the channel, the more that tells YouTube, hey, let's show this channel to more people. And that helps me out. That helps grow the Patriots Global family more. So whether you guys are happy with the Patriots right now or not, I do put a lot of time into these videos and the channel. So you don't have to give back to them, but hey, at least give your boys some love. I'd really appreciate that, guys. But I have a lot of notes here, guys. I mean, I'm talking like, I don't even know if you can see this, like 2 pages worth of notes that I got down here. But actually, I first want to get to some of the overall statistics from this team. I feel like that's a better way to start this. And I want to start with team statistics here because the Patriots played a better game than people realize. The Patriots played a better game than the Ravens. I feel like I should put this. If you look at first downs, the Patriots had more first downs than the Ravens. The Patriots had 22 first downs. The Ravens had 19 first downs. Total plays, the Patriots had more than the Ravens. The Patriots had 63 total plays. The Baltimore Ravens had about 59 total plays. The Patriots also had more total yards than the Ravens. The Patriots put up 447 total yards to the Ravens 394. They also both had the total amount of drives. They tied. It's not like one team had more drives than the other. Both teams had 12 offensive drives. The Patriots also had more yards per play than the Ravens. Patriots had 7.1. The Ravens had 6.7. The Patriots had more passing yards, 302 to the Ravens 206. As we all know, the Ravens did have more rushing yards. That's expected with their running game and Lamar Jackson being their quarterback. But they didn't actually have all that much more rushing yards than the Patriots. The Patriots had about 145. The Ravens only had about 188. So that margin isn't that far off. With that being said, this is the game the Patriots should have won. Now, the Ravens did dominate the time of possessions a little bit more than the Patriots did. The Patriots had about 29 minutes and 24 seconds with time of possession, while the Ravens had about 30 minutes and 36 seconds. There is one statistic that I feel like this comes down to that ultimately dictates how this game turned out, and it was turnovers. The Ravens had 2, Patriots had 4. And more of those came in the second half. I feel like the Patriots came out in the first half of this game and they played pretty well. The Patriots should have went into the locker room after the first half and came out in the second half with the lead. If Nick Folk doesn't miss, whatever, the Patriots are able to punch the ball in. The Patriots are leading here. But nonetheless, they go into the locker room for halftime and it's just a 1-point differential. It's nothing. Okay, that's next to nothing. They come out after half. And that's when everything falls down. Obviously, we all know the score being 37-26. In the first quarter, the Baltimore Ravens put up 7 points to the Patriots 0. In the second quarter, the Ravens put up 7 points to the Patriots 13. In the third quarter is where the Baltimore Ravens started to dominate as they put up 17 points in the third to the Patriots 7. And then both teams put up 6 in the fourth quarter. Again, Total yards, Patriots win. Turnovers. Unfortunately, Baltimore Ravens win again. Patriots having 4, which we're going to be touching on those, to the Baltimore Ravens 2. The time of possession was really neck to neck, and the Patriots had more first downs. Statistically, for the most part, the Patriots did everything right, but when you can't take care of the football, what are you expecting to have done? I mean, this is something Belichick has preached throughout his entire career. I don't care about the splash plays. I don't care if you win or lose the game. Just take care of the football. If you take care of the football, your chances of winning the game, if you can win the turnover differential, if you can win that area of the game, doesn't matter what other areas you win or lose, your ability to come out with that win is a lot more likely. And that's been the issue with the Patriots over the last few weeks, is that they're not really winning that turnover differential, maybe except for last week against the Steelers. But I feel like a big part of this comes down to Mac Jones. Now, look, you've had some fumbles here and there. Nelson Aguilar with his second fumble already in the season in just 3 weeks. That's a problem. But Mac Jones is turning over the ball a lot more than people expected. I believe he had about 9 interceptions last year. And the over-under for him was, I think, like 7. So it was expected that Mac Jones was going to take that leap forward. He was going to take care of the ball better coming out of college, heading into the draft. The big thing about Mac Jones is, hey, he's smart. He takes care of the ball. He's not going to give you stupid plays, not going to give you stupid turnovers. And he showed us that last year. And it's like this year he came in and said, you know what? If I'm going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, if I'm going to be Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, I need to start creating more splash plays. So what is he doing? He's launching the ball down the field, and he's launching the ball down the field, and he's launching the ball down the field. He's not taking care of the football. You need to pick up what the defense is giving you, and Mac, through 3 weeks, has not done that. And I thought when we saw this during the offseason, in training camp, mini camp, the preseason, I thought, hey, you know what? Mac Jones is just testing his luck right now. He's seeing what he can do for the regular season. He's seeing what he can't do. But no, this was just a dictation of what we were going to see from Mac Jones as we enter the regular season. And I think this is something that he could definitely iron out. But the problem is, at least to start the season, is that we're seeing that exact same thing, is that he's trying to force these splash plays down the field. He's trying to force these big plays to happen. He's trying to be, essentially this offensive hero, because, everyone's saying, hey, Mac Jones has to take that second-year leap if this offense is going to do well. And now he has that caught in his head that he has to take that leap. He has to be the guy that is this big game changer for year 2 to have any type of success. And because of that, it's actually hindering our success more, because he keeps continuously turning over the ball. Again, an interception against the Dolphins, an interception against the Steelers, three interceptions today. And they were really all bad interceptions. He should have had 2 last week, another gimme interception to, I forget what Steelers defender it was. I have to look back at my notes. But again, he's just throwing bad interceptions. He threw a bad interception today, trying to go to DeVante Parker in the end zone, and it was just nowhere near DeVante. I don't know if it was communication issues or what. Mac Jones, after that play, sitting on the sidelines, looked absolutely furious, but I don't know where he was going with that ball, because it was a few yards away from where DeVante Parker was. An easy interception for, I believe it was Humphrey, for the Baltimore Ravens there in their secondary, and just an easy INT at a pivotal moment. Not to mention that Mac Jones interception before that one was another pivotal moment where the Patriots needed to drive the ball down the field, punch it into the end zone, get some points, and we're not able to. The great thing about Tom Brady, and I'm not trying to compare Tom Brady and Mac Jones here in any way, shape, or form, but I know some people are going to say that, which is why I want to have a little disclaimer. But the great thing about Tom Brady is that, look, he had slow starts before. He didn't have great games. He had bad throws. He had miscommunications. Like, he had these same issues. The great thing about Brady, though, is when you needed points, you needed a guy to be clutch. That was Brady. Brady was clutch. Brady would drive the ball down the field to put points up on the board for you. And it usually would not turn out in an interception or giving the ball up. Unfortunately, with Mac Jones, when the Patriots need to drive the ball down the field, the Patriots need to put points up on the board. When we're in a moment where we say, you know what, this is an absolute moment where you just cannot turn the ball over. Mac Jones is turning the ball over, and he's throwing terrible, just gimme interceptions. It's not like he's putting it in a place for the receiver to get, and it's just absolute standout plays defensively. No, he's just giving it straight up to the defensive players here. And just that's the issue here is that, you're driving the ball down the field. When you need points, he's doing the exact opposite of what you need, and he's giving the ball to the other team. See what some of you guys are saying here. I see a lot of people saying we need to find another quarterback. I knew that this was going to happen, guys. Let's just not get ahead of ourselves just yet. I know a lot of Patriots fans are already getting ahead of themselves. I do want to talk about this Mac Jones injury here in just a second before I get into some more of my notes here. But I have here for you guys about this game. But I actually want to look at player statistics here. Just give me a second. So Lamar Jackson, 18 for 29, 218 yards, averaging 7.5 yards per throw, 4 touchdowns. That's the one area I'll give him. He put up a lot of touchdowns on this defense. 1 interception and was sacked 4 times. He had a passer rating of 110.3. You look at Mac Jones in this game, he was 22 for 32, 321 yards. Sorry, I had a video playing there in the background. 321 yards, averaging 10 yards per throw, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, pass rating of 62.1. You take away those interceptions, and I guarantee you the Patriots win this game. Because whether the Patriots put it in for 7 or not, or whether they just went for field goals, this is the game the Patriots would have ended up coming out with a win. But because the Patriots were doing the exact opposite, because they were not able to take care of the football, 3 turnovers in pivotal moments that put the Ravens in a position where, hey, they get another chance on offense. And 2, the Patriots are not putting any type of points up on the board. And the big thing here, the problem that's been with this offense, and I'm not going to get into it too much because I actually plan on making a video about this. But for those of you watching, you get a little sneak peek. The issue with this offense has not been really the passing game. It has not been the running game. It's not been the defense, because the Patriots ranked are not that low in passing or in rushing or in total yards. They're driving the ball down the field, believe it or not. They're doing it at a fair rate. Some rates even top 10 in the NFL, which again, I'm not going to get into it too much because I want to make a video on this. The problem for the Patriots, though, has been the turnover differentials. They're one of the last in the NFL in turnovers. Because at the end of the day, while the Patriots are driving the ball down the field, you're not seeing points up on the board because it creates an overall turnover at the end of the day. So, hey, you can go from, the 5-yard line and go all the way down to the 1-yard line, about to punch in the end zone. But if you're turning the ball over, you're not going to put up any points on the board. You're going to get the overall yards, sure, but you're not going to get points up on the board. And at the end of the day, points are the most important thing in football, not yards. But like I said, we talked about Mac Jones and Lamar Jackson. Now, if we look at the rushing, Lamar Jackson, 11 carries, 107 yards, 9.7 yards on average, 1 touchdown, a long run of 38 yards. I felt like, again, in the first half, Patriots did pretty well containing Lamar Jackson. Second half came out, and the second half was just a terrible, terrible half by the Patriots. I don't know what it was. Usually the Patriots franchise is a second half team. But so far this year, we've been more of a first half team, and then we just kind of can it in the second half. You got to contain Lamar Jackson a little bit better. The Patriots over the last couple of times against the Ravens have been able to contain him a little bit more than they did today. Overall, he's not the reason that we lost today's game. Him rushing for 107 yards isn't the reason we lost. Justice Hill, I thought, had a really good game as a rotational piece for the Baltimore Ravens. 6 carries, 60 yards, 10 yards per carry, long run of 34. I didn't think J.K. Dobbins or Devin Duvernay really contributed in the running game, but I think special teams-wise and receiving-wise, they did really well. I think Ramondre Stevenson had a really good game for the Patriots today. I mean, man, if you watch this game, Ramondre Stevenson, guys, he's put himself at a position to be the Patriots' number 1 running back at this point. I don't think Damien Harris is the number 1 running back for us. I still like that 1-2 punch. I'm still a huge fan of Damien Harris, but Ramondre Stevenson, there was a point in this game, it was late into the game, I believe, even like the late third quarter, early fourth quarter, where he was averaging 9 yards per carry. 9 yards per carry. Ramondre Stevenson finished today 12 carries, 73 yards, 6.1 yards per average, 1 touchdown, long run of 18 yards. Damien Harris, 11 carries, 41 yards, averaging 3.7 yards per carry, 1 touchdown, and a long run of 10 yards. And then Mac Jones carried the ball a lot by himself today, which does worry me a little bit, especially because at the end of the game, we did see that injury. But 5 carries, 31 yards, 6.2 yards in average, 1 touchdown, with a long run of 15 yards. I think one of the big ways the Patriots can continue to be more successful is you got to get this running game going more. If Mac Jones is going to continue to throw these interceptions, especially these gimme interceptions, you need to start taking some pass attempts away from him, and you need to start giving these running backs some more attempts. That starts with getting Damian Harris more involved in getting him going, but also giving Ramondre Stevenson some more attempts. Now, as for receiving, DeVante Parker. DeVante Parker, let me hear it in the chat right now. Everyone, DeVante Parker, have yourself a freaking day. That is what we want to see. That is why you brought DeVante Parker in here. That is exactly what DeVante Parker was brought in the NFL to do. And this is what we've been waiting 3 weeks into the regular season to see. I mean, week 1, he played 100% of the offensive snaps. Took a little bit of a step back with those snaps in week 2, and I'll be curious to see what he played this week. But from projections for receiver-wise, he is expected to have played the most out of any receiver this week, and he showcased himself. And I think part of that is because they started to utilize him the way I said they needed to. They needed to utilize him a little bit more in that Josh Gordon type of role, and that's what they started to do. But also, if you look at the first couple of weeks here of the season, they were using DeVante Parker really only in the end zone. You know, he was only being targeted once you hit the red zone. You're trying to punch in the NFL. You're trying to punch it into the end zone for a touchdown. That's the only time you were really seeing DeVante Parker being utilized or targeted. You were never really seeing him targeted, in the short to intermediate routes, or even just giving him some regular passes down the field. Today, we were finally able to see that. I thought he even looked good with yards after the catch today. He had multiple receptions for over 40 yards, and he overall finished today with 5 receptions, guys. 5 receptions, 156 yards, averaging 31.2 yards per catch. I believe he was 4 yards short. I believe he was 4 yards short of breaking his career game. I think his career game was 159 yards, if I'm correct. So he was 4 yards short of breaking his game record there. So he had a really good game. Like I said, he needs to be utilized more overall in this offense, and not just, hey, let's target him just in the end zone. I don't know why we're doing that. It just seems too like every time he's targeted in the end zone, it turns into an interception. So maybe let's stop targeting him for now in the end zone and start utilizing him more when we're trying to drive the ball down the field. But overall, this is exactly the game you wanted to see today from DeVante Parker. Kendrick Bourne got a little bit more looks today. I will say he still is expected to be the least used receiver. I don't know why. I still don't agree with it. I don't know what's going on. Again, we still have to see the exact snap counts, but the expected order, is supposed to go DeVante Parker, Nelson Aguilar, DeVante Parker, Lil Jordan Humphrey, Nelson Aguilar, then Kendrick Bourne. But Kendrick Bourne still finished with limited snaps, second in receiving yards, 4 receptions, 58 yards, 14.5 yards per average with a long catch of 26 yards. Nelson Aguilar, 2 receptions, 41 yards, averaging 20.5 yards per reception. Ramondre Stevenson got in big in the passing game today too, 4 receptions for 28 yards. Johnny Smith, a little bit more involved today too, which I did like. 4 receptions, 25 yards, 6.3 yards on average. Hunter Henry had a catch today for 8 yards. Lil Jordan Humphrey was targeted once he was wide open, but him and McWard is not on the same page. So, statistically, there was just nothing there. I am surprised, though, to see Lil Jordan Humphrey play as much as he has. I think he's a really good run blocker, and that's probably why he's being utilized more. But if you're going to play him that much, I really think you need to start getting him involved in the passing game, because if you're going to have a receiver play on the field as much as he is and not have him contribute in the passing game really at all, there's going to be an issue. And obviously, Jacoby Myers not playing today, him being inactive, was probably one of the biggest surprises and biggest takeaways of this game. And even without him, even without the number 1 receiver and Mac's number 1 guy, you're still playing excellent football. And I thought without Jacoby Myers today, one, DeVante Parker stepped up in his absence, but two, we spread the ball out a lot more, which to me goes to show that, Mac just relies on Jacoby too much. And it's okay to have your number one guy. It's okay to have a guy you go to in time of need, but to go to the same guy time after time, I think has been limiting this team. Because once you reach the end zone, or the red zone rather, you're not really going to Jacoby Myers because he's not really a red zone guy. He's not someone that really gets touchdowns. He's just someone that helps you drive down the field. And then you're going to DeVante Parker time after time, which is causing interceptions. Now with Jacoby out of the question, you're forced to get guys like DeVante Parker more involved. You use Kendrick Bourne a little bit more. We saw these tight ends a lot more involved. I believe it was like the first catch for Hunter Henry all season so far through 3 weeks, which is insane. So I like that we actually spread the ball out a lot more today. Let me make sure we didn't get any donations here. But before I get into my specific notes, because like I said, I think I wrote down like 2 pages worth of notes today. So I definitely want to get in on those. I want to talk about this. And you guys already know your boy has a picture. Let's talk about this. We all saw it. We're all concerned. Mac Jones injured. Okay. I want to talk about this just because this is obviously a pressing story. I'll make a video on this when we have an update on basically, hey, this is what's going on with Mac Jones. This is the expected injury timeline, whatever. But Mac Jones goes down one of the last plays in the game, which at that point, you're not going to win the game. I don't know why this team didn't just run the ball out or just kneel the ball out and leave without injuries, but Mac's still in the game, still pushing the ball down the field, gets pressure, and ultimately gets sacked. I forget who exactly the defender was. I believe it was Campbell. I believe it was Calais Campbell, over 300 pounds, just comes up and puts his body weight on him. It looked like Mac's knees kind of folded back and his one knee just slammed on the ground, and that was his left one. If I'm correct, he had a brace on that left knee even before the game started. I believe you can actually even see it right there. I believe that's the leg that was actually injured, the one he has a brace on. So there might already be some concerns even before this injury for that leg. But Mac Jones immediately down in pain, screaming in agony, hops off the field. And I don't mean like he's walking on both legs. He immediately is getting up, hopping off to the sidelines on his leg that's okay, making sure not to put pressure on the leg that got injured. He's going down to the locker room. I don't know who snapped this picture, but you can see as they're trying to get him into the locker room, because guys, he didn't go off to the sideline. He didn't go into the blue tent. They took him straight to the locker room. You can even see in this picture, he is just screaming. And I would make this bigger if I could, but he is screaming in agony. They said that you could hear him as he was going to the locker room, just screaming in pain. Got x-rays. We don't know the results of those x-rays. I expect that we'll find something out between today and tomorrow. I know a lot of people right away are saying, out for the season. Mac Jones is done. After the season is done. We have a top 10 draft pick for this year. Start trading your assets. And I couldn't believe it. Patriots fans, when we get disappointed, I just see a lot of these fans just go off the rails and start freaking out, doing the most let's figure out what the injury is first. I don't think it's anything broken. I think he would have not been able to even get up and limp off the way he was if it was broken. I'm hearing it could be just a really high sprain, but I'm no doctor. I don't know what the issue is, but nonetheless, I'd expect that at least for next week against Green Bay, I'd expect at least for next week he'd be out. Mac was already dealing with some injuries to start the season. This on top of it, I'm expecting that he's just not going to play at least for this week, which means that Brian Hoyer, it would be your quarterback, which these players for the Patriots came out in their post-game interviews and we're already saying, hey, look, if Mac can't go, we're okay with Hoyer. And I think that Hoyer can still win you games. I think that, is he going to be as accurate as Mac Jones? No, but Mac Jones hasn't exactly looked great through 3 weeks. I think that he's still a very smart veteran who has a connection with these players, being here for several years already. And I'm confident. I'm confident that Brian Hoyer could still potentially win you a game. And I think with how Max performs so far through 3 weeks, it's really not too far of a dump off, again, if he's not able to play. But like I said, guys, let's not jump to conclusions just yet. I will have you guys covered for everything we do here about Mac But let's not say he's out for the season just yet, okay? Not saying he isn't going to be out for the season because he could be, but I feel like a lot of times in the NFL, Patriots players, non-Patriots players, we've seen guys go down screaming in agony. The pain looks terrible. You look at the replay, the play looks terrible, the injury looks terrible, and then they're only out for a couple of weeks. Like sometimes you cannot dictate how an injury is just based off of what it's going to look like. You have to actually get results first. So this could be very painful for Mac Jones. Maybe doesn't have a high pain tolerance, but it doesn't mean that he's going to be out for the season just because of how much pain it looks like that he's in. All right. So that's the one thing I did want to start off by saying. So it looks like, so I don't know how valid this. It looks like Colby, which I love that name, by the way, says his x-rays were negative, but he has an MRI tomorrow. Yeah, that's usually the order it goes. Usually it starts with the x-rays because they can do x-rays within the facility, but you have to get an MRI, which obviously you can't do in facility, which would be the next day. So we'll have to see what that says. But if x-rays are coming back negative, that's usually a positive. That's usually positive. Let me see if I have any type of update here. See if I have any whatsoever. I'm not sure if I do. But let me just check Twitter real quick. Yeah, so Ian Rappaport has reported quarterback Mac Jones x-rays on his ankle following the game, and they were negative. His ankle will continue to be evaluated. Guys, that's a good sign. It's a good sign. The fact that his x-rays came back negative is a positive. Again, we have to get MRIs. Let's see what they say. Am I expecting him to play next week? No, but the fact that the x-rays came back negative is a good sign that he's not going to be out for the entire season. All right. So we're seeing another one here. Jeff Howe, he says Mac Jones will have an MRI tomorrow on his injured ankle after x-rays were negative. The concern is a high ankle sprain, but the MRI will diagnose that injury. If he does have to miss time, Brian Hoyer will likely start over Bailey Zappi. What I'm hearing is that it could be, if he has a high ankle sprain, it could be somewhere between 6 to 8 weeks. But again, we're just projecting right now. We're trying to figure out what that injury is based off of what we're hearing, based off of what we saw, but we don't ultimately know. And again, some players progress more and faster and slower than other players do. But if it is a really high ankle sprain, usually it's somewhere between 6 to 8 weeks. So, I mean, again, it shouldn't be season ending. But again, let's just hear what that is first. But I do want to get into some of my notes here. So first off, I thought it was a really, really good opening drive by the Patriots defense. Guys, this defense is good. This defense is, if not top 10, this is fringe top 10. If this offense can just get it going, if this offense could just stop turning over the ball, literally that's it. If this offense stops turning over the ball, we're a lot more successful team. This defense gives me a lot of confidence, as long as they can stay healthy, that they can, continue to perform with some of these higher level opposing offenses. But I thought it was a really good opening drive by the defense. First play by Judon to prevent Lamar Jackson from scrambling to the outside and picking up any yards. He either got him at the line or got him 1 yard behind. And then on that same drive, Daniel Aquale, welcome back, Daniel Aquale, is able to get his hand up on a third down play, bat the pass down that brings up fourth down there on the opening drive for the Ravens. And I think overall, Daniel Aquale had a really good game for his first game back, and he's shown that, he's going to be a rotational piece and that he's going to play a good amount. He's probably going to play, honestly, more than Carl Davis, and I would expect him to take a lot of those snaps from Carl Davis at this point. So welcome back, Daniel Aquale. The first offensive play today was DeVante Parker for 41 yards. Like I said earlier, DeVante Parker, welcome. Welcome. We've missed you. We've missed you through the previous 2 weeks when we've needed you. But hopefully, because he got going today, he can continue to get going and he can stay healthy, because if he can play like this on a week-to-week basis, let me tell you, this offense is going to take that next leap forward, again, as long as we can take care of the ball. But for that first play of our offensive drive to be 41 yards there for DeVante Parker, that made me feel good about where this game was going to go ultimately before, we totally crapped the bag there coming into the second half of the game. Now, a sack on third down for the Patriots for their opening drive was caused between Harris and Strange. So I believe this was, so this was a third down. This was on that same drive that we had DeVante Parker for 41 yards. The Patriots had a miscommunication. Let me make sure I got this right. The Patriots had a miscommunication. It was a sack. I believe who the defensive player was for the Ravens there, but ultimately Mac Jones gets sacked on third down. The defender just comes right through. The Ravens all game had issues getting pressure with just rushing four, so they started rushing linebackers a lot more, and a linebacker essentially just came through. It might have been Patrick Queen, and Harris and Strange just weren't on the same page. They kind of both go to block, the same guy coming through, and then because of that, one guy just comes right through and sacks Mac Jones. So that's what led to that. Just a little bit better communication, but these things are going to happen. There was one point where Uche hesitated to sack Lamar. I believe this was on third down too, and ultimately it let Lamar scramble out and pick up the first down. That should have been an easy sack for Uche. Uche, which we really expected to be a big part to this Patriots defense, potentially being the guy that plays opposite of Judon or even playing a little bit more middle to outside linebacker. Really has not done anything so far through 3 weeks. Today should have been an easy sack for him, but he hesitated, kind of stopped in Lamar's face. Lamar just runs off to the side and picks up that first. Uche has to do better there. Dietrich Wise. Dietrich Wise, he's playing as a top 10 edge rusher. You can't argue it. Let me pull up the statistics here real quick. I believe where exactly he ranks, but I'm going to have to make a video here on Dietrich Wise. He's playing as a top 10 edge rusher. He's playing better than guys like Bradley Chubb and a bunch of other like top tier edge rushers here in the NFL. He's had a really good 3 weeks so far. If we go down here, Dietrich Wise today had a total of 6 tackles, 5 were solo, 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, and 3 quarterback hits. All our tackles for loss today, all of our tackles for loss came from Dietrich Wise. Absolute stud. I think he was he was easily hands down the defensive player today, Patriots wise. I thought he had a really, really great game. He's been stout through 3 weeks. I think he's really solidified himself at this point as your edge rusher opposite of Matthew Judon. DeVante Parker for the Patriots on their second offensive drive went for another 40-yard reception. Something else I noticed for the Patriots was that today they played a lot more play action. They have been playing in shotgun a lot, which if you play in shotgun, it makes playing play action a little bit more difficult, but the Patriots have played a lot of play action the last 2 weeks against the Steelers and this week because of the concerns of protecting Mac Jones. You play shotgun, you're able to protect your quarterback a little bit more. So they've been running a lot more shotgun, but they need to start playing a lot more play action because both of those plays to DeVante Parker for those big 40-yard gains came on play action. Mac Jones also ran a lot of play action in college, very successful with it. I think that's another way this offense gets going if you start playing a lot more play action. Penalties, though. Penalties, and I told you guys about this even in the offseason that I thought that we were going to start the season the same way that we did last year and that penalties were going to kill us, and penalties have continued to kill us. I actually can pull up the statistic here for the amount of penalties we had. I believe the Ravens actually had more penalties overall. I don't know. Shoot, we actually had more penalties. So we had about 3 penalties, but again, they're coming in crucial moments. The Ravens had 2 penalties for 10 yards. We had 3 penalties for 16 yards. Here I put that penalties are setting this offense back, putting our offense in lawn positions that they aren't able to convert. Essentially, what I mean by that is this offense is not poised to be converting on 3rd and long or 2nd and 15. If we get in those positions, it's likely that we're just going to end up punting the ball. I'm not confident in the team to be able to do that at least just yet. So with that being said, let's say you run the ball up the gut for 5 yards, but now you're being taken back here because you have a penalty, a holding penalty that's going to, give you a 10 yards. So now you're at, let's say, 2nd and 20, repeat on downs. I'm not confident in the team to be able to convert that. And again, that comes back to the offensive line, or just not even just the offensive line, but offensive holding penalties in general. The Patriots have to stop these penalties if they want to be successful at all, because like I said, this offense right now is not poised to be able to convert on these long downs. So that was another big takeaway for me in this game. In the second quarter, Dietrich Wise shows out again. In the second quarter, he already had 2 sacks. He had 3 sacks overall today, but had 2 sacks just going into the second quarter. I thought he had a really, really good game. I said Dietrich Wise is, and I quote, line under it, him. He is him. Dietrich Wise is that guy. I also said, what a defense for the Patriots to start the second quarter. I mean, through the first half of football, I would say the Patriots did very, very well defensively. The second half defensively, they came out with a little bit more concerns here. And that's really when, one, they started to not be able to contain Lamar as much, but two came up when they weren't really able to cover Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews had a stellar game today. If you had him in fantasy, congratulations. 8 receptions, 89 yards, averaging 11.1 yards per reception, 2 touchdowns, and a long reception of 25 yards. Overall, he was targeted 13 times. All right. They were not able to stop Mark Andrews today. Obviously, he had those big 2 touchdowns, that 1 touchdown before halftime excuse me, we have another one. Sorry, another video plays for me here, of course. But that one, scroll down a little bit, that one touchdown pass to Mark Andrews with Devin McCourty in coverage. If McCourty's able to get his head around just right before, maybe that's an interception, but also just a great catch by Mark Andrews, just proving why he's one of the best in the NFL at the tight end position. Rashad Bateman, for really the entirety of this game, was quiet until the fourth quarter. If you look at the statistics, you'd think that Rashad Bateman went off when he really didn't. He was their second leading receiver today. He was targeted 4 times, 2 receptions, 59 yards, averaging 29.5 yards per reception, 0 touchdowns, and a long of 35. I believe he didn't have a single catch there until the fourth quarter. So again, you can't always look at the statistics here. But again, the defense kind of started to break there in the second half, especially as we reached the fourth quarter. Couldn't really afford that too with how the offense was playing and consistently turning the ball over. With that being said too, I actually want to go right here. The Patriots had a lot of issues taking care of the football. Not only did Mac Jones have 3 interceptions, but you also had that Nelson Aguilar fumble late in the game on a big reception, which could have really changed the outcome of this game. So that's 4 overall turnovers that the Patriots lost. But then you had Miles Bryant on, I believe, a kick return. It was a kick return or punt return. He lost the ball, was able to get it back, but wasn't able to take care of it there. Kendrick Bourne had a fumble today that he was able to get back. So essentially, if you're not able to get those two fumbles back there from Kendrick Bourne and Miles Bryant, that's 6 turnovers for the Patriots there. It's a really big issue. And there's another point today where Mac Jones should have had another interception. I believe Patrick Queen for what would have been a pick 6. So again, we're not taking care of the football has been the overall big issue. Again, something here I put down to Dietrich Wise that he's not looking just good as a pass rusher, but also being able to stop guys behind the line, whether it's in the run game. He was able to stop Lamar to stay behind the line. In every phase of the game, Dietrich Wise is looking good. I also said excellent. This is exactly what you want to see from the Patriots offense in crunch time. I believe they had like 30 seconds left on the clock before going into the locker room for halftime. They were able to drive the ball down the field and put points up on the board. It wasn't a touchdown, but they were still able to go down after the Ravens just went down in that excellent Mark Andrews touchdown against Devin McCourty, and were able in 30 seconds to get in position to kick a Nick Folk field goal, which again put them in a position to go into halftime losing by just 1. So, and then the last real note I have here is that Jonathan Jones is Jonathan Jones. Okay. He's making plays when the Patriots need. Unfortunately, they're not always converting on those plays offensively. They did with the interception. They're able to convert it in for a touchdown, but he also had a big forced fumble in which the Patriots right after turned the ball right back over to the Baltimore Ravens offense and Lamar Jackson. So, but still, John Jones being John Jones, and he just looks great. But I do want to answer some of your guys' questions here. So make sure you guys do drop those in the comment section below. Any questions you guys do have, I do want to answer. All right, I'm trying to look for some good comments here. What happened to Uche? There's just not really much to say about Uche. He hasn't really shown out through 3 weeks. Really, this was the opportunity for him to get a starting role here for the Patriots. 2020, he really had a key role to, you know, showcase himself for the Patriots, and he really didn't do it then. Last year, I know that there was a lot of players, especially veterans, ahead of him, so I get it. But this offseason, even at this point, you're looking for that guy to play opposite side of Judon. Now is Uche's time to do it, and he just hasn't. Today should have had an easy sack, but instead just doesn't decide to sack Lamar Jackson and go ahead and lets him pick up a first down with his legs. Make sure you guys also leave a big thumbs up on this video, guys. It really, really helps out the channel. It doesn't even take a second. Just click it real quick. Helps the channel out so much if you guys don't mind. Neil Ray says, what's up with the picks? You think it's rust or just bad judgment, forcing it too much? I think it's forcing it too much. Neil, you're spot on there. It's forcing the ball, okay? Mac needs to stop forcing the ball. That's the big issue here, is that he's trying to be somebody he's not. And I don't know if he's like looking at Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and saying, if I'm going to be one of the best in the league, I got to do what they're doing. Now he's forcing the ball down the field, and it's just interception after interception after interception. And again, you're not exactly putting the ball in a position for your receivers to really even succeed. And really, a lot of these interceptions today, and really most of those interceptions that have come throughout 3 weeks, have been Mac Jones trying to target DeVante Parker. And DeVante Parker is a great player. He showed that today. 50-50 balls. He's not the only player on your team that can catch those, Mac. But yeah, he's probably your best 50-50 ball catcher. But it's predictable. Okay. It's predictable where you're going to go in these situations. When you see Mac lofting the ball down the field, 8 out of 10 times it's going to DeVante Parker. And he's relying on DeVante Parker too much to come up with these big plays. Mac Jones seems like when he's targeting DeVante, he thinks he's playing Madden and he's pressing the X button down, thinking he's going to come up with some spectacular catch. And sometimes you get those, and a lot of times you just don't, especially if you're playing head-to-head in Madden. If y'all play Madden, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I think he's relying on him way too much to come down with these, because DeVante Parker will be in double, sometimes triple coverage, and it will come up with an interception. And you just look back at the play, and even these broadcasters are having a hard time trying to, give Mac an excuse and say what he's trying to see, because it's just like, you don't throw that ball. You don't throw that ball there. He's in triple coverage. There was that interception today to DeVante Parker in the end zone, a terrible, terrible pass. I don't know where he was going. Just goes straight to Humphrey there for the Ravens. On the opposite side of the field, you had Nelson Aguilar wide open in the end zone. So I feel like it's just Mac forcing the ball to DeVante, trying to have plays happen instead of just giving what the defense gives you and going kind of, even if it's just slow by slow, it's better to slowly drive down the field and punch it in than it is to try to force your way down the field with big plays and then result in interceptions, ultimately coming down with 0 points. Again, you want to get the ball down the field fast, especially for situations like we had before going into the locker room for halftime. But you got to put points up on the board. It doesn't matter how fast or how slow you drive the ball down the field if you're not going to put points up on the board. And I'd rather us go slow and take up a lot more time of possession and actually put points up on the board than us just forcing the ball down the field to DeVante Parker, Nelson Aguilar, and just consistently getting turnovers and putting up 0 points. Parker isn't a number one receiver. I would say Parker's not an elite number one receiver. I think DeVante Parker is a number one receiver, but he isn't going to be like top 10. He's not going to be elite or whatever. But when it comes to depth chart, I would say, yeah, I understand why they're utilizing him as a number one wide receiver. He's arguably the most talented wide receiver the Patriots have on this roster. I just think it's where they're targeting him and how they're utilizing him that's kind of biting us in the butt. Through 2 weeks, he's really only targeted in the end zone. Once you're trying to reach the red zone, punch it in there for 7 points, that's when you're targeting him. It's coming up with interceptions. Today, we did the opposite. We finally started using him in a variety of different roles and packages offensively throughout the field, and he started to look a lot more successful. That's what you got to start doing with him for sure. I'm not gonna say Parker's like a true wide receiver one. I'm not gonna say he's a true wide receiver one, but he can suffice. He can definitely suffice as a wide receiver one. If Jones is IR'd, do I want Hoyer or do I want Zappy? Wow, I actually saw I saw a lot of people on social media, like on Pat's pages and like guys going live, like saying, Bailey Zappi season, I guess. And it's just like, really, like y'all really think Bailey Zappi's gonna be starting? No. If Mac Jones isn't able to play, it's not Bailey Zappi. Bailey Zappi's your official backup quarterback, but he's not starting. Okay, it's Brian Hoyer. I think Bailey Zappi showed some promise here and there, but really throughout the offseason, throughout the preseason, like he had issues being consistent, he had issues being slow, he had issues throwing interceptions. If you're going to put him in some of the best defenses against the entire National Football League, all starters at this point, not third and fourth stringers, I think Bailey Zappi is going to have a big struggle. Yeah, it's great snaps for him as a young, improving NFL quarterback. But from our standpoint of trying to win, you put Brian Hoyer in. He knows the system. Brian Hoyer knows the league. He's a poised veteran in the NFL at this point. Like, he knows teams, he knows defenses, he knows schemes, he knows looks, and that's very important. Is he going to be the most athletic? No, but I think at this point, if you're trying to get the most success, who's going to be more cautious with the ball and prevent you from getting more turnovers? That guy's 100% going to be Brian Hoyer over Bailey Zappi. And I just don't see a world in which Bill Belichick says, "Yeah, I'm gonna start the rookie quarterback Bailey Zappi over Brian Hoyer, the poised veteran who's been in this system for years and years and years." There's no quarterback that has been in this system other than Tom Brady than Brian Hoyer. So to me, it's not even a question. Now, ideally, you don't want Mac to be out, but again, if he's IR'd, whatever the case might be, which we'll find out likely tomorrow, yeah, it's Brian Hoyer. He's going to give you the best chance at winning for sure. Again, because he also has a repertoire with these players. Bailey Zappi just got here a few months ago, but Brian Hoyer's been here for several years. So guys like, Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, Jonnu, Hunter, like he's had at least 2 years or last season and this season, but really just a year, I guess, to start building a chemistry with these guys throughout practicing this year and last year. So it's 100% Hoyer. On the defense, we missed Kyle Duggar today. Yeah. Yeah, 100%, dude. I mean, when I saw that Kyle Duggar was not playing today, I actually was really concerned. I actually thought we were going to be a lot worse without Kyle Duggar. Kyle Duggar is one of our best defensive players. He's played through, I can't say 3 weeks. He's played through 2 weeks, a lot closer to the line of scrimmage, playing a little bit more hybrid linebacker. I think Lamar doesn't rush for nearly as many yards if Kyle Duggar is in this game. Kyle Duggar has been a force to be reckoned with in coverage, but also a force to be reckoned with when it comes to making plays in the running game behind the line of scrimmage. His play recognition is insane. Where exactly would they have chose to utilize him in this game, whether that's playing Lamar or playing somebody like Andrews, I'm not sure. But I think either way, you either have Lamar not rushing for as many yards or you have that play in the end zone to Mark Andrews. I don't think that play happened if that guy is Kyle Duggar versus McCourty, just because of how physical Kyle Duggar likes to play. Hopefully we're able to get him back next week, though. Hmm. Belichick really has Mac forcing the ball to Parker because he refuses to get him a wide receiver one. Dude, that's not Bill's fault. That's not Bill's fault at all. Like that's Mac's. That's Mac's decision. Like, yeah, they say go through your progressions. This is your 1, your 2, your 3, whatnot. But at the end of the day, like Mac Jones is the guy that's passing the ball. Mac Jones is the guy that's going through these reads and ultimately makes the decisions. The coaches are the guys that are going to say, hey, these are your progressions. This is the play. This is how we're running it. But they don't say, hey, this is who you're going to throw to on this play. They just don't do that. That's up to Mac, and that's Mac's decision at the end of the day, consistently throwing to Parker and consistently just forcing the ball to him, which is causing interceptions. I mean, I think Patriots fans just keep going on and on and on about a true wide receiver one, but like I don't think a true wide receiver one solves all your problems, right? Because we have a crap ton of talent right now, a crap ton. Okay, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith were 2 top 10 tight ends before signing with New England. Hunter Henry even had a great season last year. Kendrick Bourne is a guy that if he plays every game last year and we don't have penalty issues, would have went for 1,000 yards. We have talent on this team. This is the best talent we've had since 2017. Okay? This is the best talent we've had in years, and we're still not getting the job done. I don't think that problem is a wide receiver one. I think the problem is that we're not executing. We're forcing the ball where it doesn't need to be. Just bad reads and bad decisions. I think that is ultimately what this is coming down to. Penalties and just, I can't say we're not playing complimentary football. We're just having bad turnovers in crucial moments. That's what the issue is. Again, back in the Tom Brady days, why were we so successful? Why were we so poised as one of the best NFL offenses? Because we got the job done when the job needed to be done. Were we great on every pass? Were we great on every rush attempt? Were we great on every drive? No, what we were great on was, hey, you need a moment, you need a play, you need right now to go drive the ball down for 7 points or 3 points. We were confident that we can go and do that. The problem now is that when we have those moments where we say, you cannot turn the ball over right now, you need to be safe, you need to march that ball down the field right now. Doesn't matter if it's fast or slow. You need to march the ball down the field and keep up with this opposing offense. What happens when the Patriots are doing that now? They're causing turnovers. When we need them to show up, they're doing the exact opposite of what we need. They're putting up 0 points and they're giving the ball back to the opposing team's offense. That's the issue right now. The issue isn't that we don't have a Tyreek Hill or a Jalen Waddle, because at the end of the day, would you rather have a true wide receiver one and the rest of the guys behind him are just average? Or would you rather have multiple guys throughout your team that aren't wide receiver one quality, but are more talented? Because I think the Patriots have a lot of talent that they could easily be successful. If Brady was here, this team would easily be a top 10 offense. And I'm not saying, Brady can do what Max should, but what I'm saying is that we easily have enough talent for this team to be good, to drive the ball down the field and put up points and be competitive, but we're just not. And that issue does not come down to not having a true wide receiver one. Trying to look for some more questions. But honestly, guys, it's even something too where it's like personnel. I like little Jordan Humphrey. I think that he has a right to be on this team, but you cut him and you put him on the practice squad for a reason before deciding to elevate him. And today he's your second most receiver that played the most amount of snaps on your offense. And for the third straight week, Kendrick Bourne is playing the least amount of offensive snaps. It's also just stupid decisions like that that's costing this team. It's not a wide receiver one type of thing. We have talent to be able to get the job done, guys. We're just not doing it. I feel like whenever an offense isn't successful, we always look at the weapons and say, they're not good enough. What are we doing? When in reality, there's just so much more to analyze than that. Regardless or what people are saying, I think Mac is definitely the guy. He literally graduated with a 4.0 GPA on top of playing football. He had a great mind for football, 100%, dude. Like, and that's why he was drafted. The question is where's that Mac? Where is that Mac? That is the question right now. Someone put out like an APB for like 2020, 2021 Mac Jones, because that guy's not here. That's the problem. He's super smart. He takes care of the football and he's smart with his mind. Like, he's not the most physically gifted guy, but he's accurate. He knows how to take care of the ball and he knows where to put the ball. He hasn't done that so far this season. He did that last year. He did it in college, but for some reason this year he's trying to be something he's not. He's trying to just have several splash plays down the field, like again we're seeing from some of these top quarterbacks. He needs to stop comparing himself to other people and he needs to just focus on getting the job done. Don't worry about where you rank, what your stats look like. Worry about putting points up on the board and winning the game and putting your team in the best position to win football games. That's not what Mac's doing. Mac's putting this team in bad positions to win the football games. That's what's going on here. And again, that's very uncharacteristic of Mac Jones. I'm not ready to say like, hey, Mac Jones is the guy or Mac Jones isn't the guy. But so far through 3 weeks, I am concerned from what I'm seeing. 100% has not taken that second year leap. Definitely taking more of a step backwards, I would say, from the guy that we drafted to put in this system. But it's only a couple of weeks. I have a lot of faith that he can come back and be the same guy he was before. This is, at the end of the day, what we saw from him in college, what we saw from him last year. That guy is Mac Jones. I just think, with the new offensive scheme, with kind of the media and the hype and everyone saying, hey, Mac Jones has to take that second year leap, with him being in NFL's top 100 already. Like, I think some of it's getting to him and he felt that pressure to take that second year leap. And he's just looking for too many splash plays down the field. He's got to stay true to him and his morals. He has to stay true to him. His playing style is essentially the problem here. Tom Brady took pay cuts time after time and still never got a true wide receiver one outside of 2 years of Moss. Well, one, we don't really need Mac Jones to take a pay cut because he's on a 4-year rookie deal, which could be 5 years if they sign him to that 5th-year option, which I'm sure they will. But like you even just said, and I'm not trying to, again, compare Mac Jones and Tom Brady, but Brady really never had a wide receiver one. This team's never really been about having a wide receiver one, but they still made it work, which again goes to show me that they can still be successful without having a true wide receiver one. Guys, this is what I'm trying to tell you. We have the talent. We have more than enough talent in the backfield with our receivers, our tight ends. Hunter Henry, guys, Hunter Henry just had his first catch of the season through 3 weeks. First catch of the season today. That's a problem. Jonnu Smith, every time he gets the opportunity to get the ball in his hands, excuse me, I'm sorry, guys. I was about to get a little too vulgar. I had to stop myself. Anytime Jonnu Smith is able to get the ball in his hands, he shows what he can do after contact. Okay? Trying to keep this professional. You need to start getting Jonnu in space. You need to start getting Hunter Henry more involved, because at the end of the day, Hunter Henry and Mac Jones are always on the same page. We saw that last year. Stop acting like DeVante Parker is the only guy that can give you 50-50 ball or 50-50 ball catches and in traffic and in space. Just stop. We're forcing the ball to the same guy as if he's our only offensive weapon. You need to start getting Kendrick Bourne more involved. You need to start using these 2 tight end sets more, which we've seen so far through 3 weeks. But we're just not seeing them get targeted, and that's the problem. But guys, I'm going to end this video off here today. Make sure you guys leave a big like on this video. Of course, subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. I know today was a little bit more of a random post-game live stream. Like I said, wasn't expecting to be, kind of just me on today. So I had to change some things up here last minute. I hope you guys liked some of my takeaways here. Like always, I'll have you guys kind of covered for all these post games for every week. So make sure you guys do subscribe, like the video, turn on the bell notifications. I'll have a lot of content dropping. I have a couple of content that I dropped this week, so make sure you guys check that out. Without further ado, I appreciate you guys for watching, and go Pats.